I've waited as long as I've lived. Thumbs up. Come get what's yours and what's real. Boot up. Blissful in each other's skin above. Finally risen to the occasion. Past love's forgiven. Made heart space for the one. When it feels right, that's that ascension. Never going back to when. Before you forgot my worth. Your love for me feels like a rebirth. I don't wanna lose this high. Wouldn't wanna lose this high. I just wanna make me yours. I just wanna
Lights off, transparency on. Late night marriage with the riches. Late night marriage with the riches. You need that real talk, this is what you want. Lights off, transparency on, let's go.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, fam? Welcome to Late Night Marriage with the Riches. I am Damon Rich.
I am Tamika Rich.
And over here it is
let me get my
lights
mic.
off, transparency on. That's what it is. That's what it is. What you say now?
That's what it is. No, let me get in the mic because I don't have the clip on mic tonight. So.
Yeah, get in the mic. Get in the mic. You don't have to talk at the mic, honey.
Okay.
You just, if you make sure it's in front of your mouth,
I'm good.
right there, you should be good. You
Okay.
can bring it a little closer to you, but I mean, you don't have to look at the mic to talk
So
to
what
it.
if I'm over like this? So.
You should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you should be fine right
Just
there.
let me know if you can't hear.
Yeah, if you can't hear her, let us know. If you can't hear her, let us know, right? So, listen, tonight is a special edition. The special edition of Late Night Marriage with the Richest, the first time ever we have done it this way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be interviewing my wife, y'all. I got 1, 2,
OMG.
3 pages of questions.
Okay.
So I'm going to be asking a lot of questions tonight, talking to my honey, so that I can get in and y'all can get to know her and her how she feel about marriage and how she feel about our marriage. I might get some surprises tonight. Uh
Might.
that I might. That's hey, that's cool. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Right.
That's what we want to have happen. We want to have an honest,
Honesty.
open
Mhm.
conversation. You see, we using different little setup tonight. We're in a different part of the house, doing our thing. Hey, how you doing? Got my grandpup just sitting here staring at me. Um, hey, y'all, let us know you're in the
That's
building.
snorting.
Let us know you're in the building with us here on Late Night Marriage tonight. Yeah.
Tell a friend. What do you usually say?
Tell a neighbor, tell a friend.
Neighbor, friend.
The Riches are in the house. We are
Join
here.
us for Late Night Live.
Join us for Late Night Live, Late Night Marriage with the Riches. We looking forward to it. Why is this thing? Why it ain't got me on there? Oh, hold on. Oh, okay. So I'm going to be interviewing my wife. I'm going to be asking her some questions. If you have questions specifically for her that you would also like to ask, make sure you drop them in the comments and she will answer. The most talking I will be doing is elaborating or refining questions as we move forward. But other than that,
this should be really good then.
This should be really good.
Hopefully
We should get
I
it.
do the questions justice with the
We
answers.
hope so.
Let's get at it.
All right, let's get into it. Can you share a bit about our early days of marriage? What were some of the most exciting and challenging moments? The early days.
Ooh, so let me think back. Of course, early on in marriage.
Hey, what's up? The Broxtons in the house.
Hey, Broxtons. Of course, early in marriage, you're excited about being married. We were young. Didn't know a lot about marriage. So the idea of marriage was exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what we were getting ready to embark upon, the journey of marriage, the actual marriage, um, we didn't know was going to be the up and down, the rough road, marriage period. So early on, I think it was good.
Right. Right.
Um, I mean, we didn't have a lot. We knew that coming in, coming in,
Right.
and we were
Right.
working on building. But I think that was some of the most memorable times. Looking back,
Mm-hmm.
um, from where we came from to where we are now. Just the growth. Um, you don't necessarily like to say marriage is hard, and I don't think in the beginning we thought it was hard. But after a year or so, two or three, then you go, okay, marriage is going to be a little more difficult than I thought. Um, Early on, I guess we hadn't got to that question yet. So
No.
just about challenges.
Yeah. No. In the early years, the challenges as well
Hmm.
as the exciting moments in the early years.
So exciting moments about everything, the two becoming one, us getting a house and starting to live together,
Mm-hmm.
merge our lives. The idea of it was exciting because I had expectations
Mm-hmm.
already as being a wife and
Yep.
all the things that I was going to do and bring to the table that you were going to automatically like without
Mm-hmm.
me asking or not.
Mm-hmm.
Just in my mind, this is what wives do. This is what
In
I've
my
been told.
mind. Uh-huh.
This is what I've been told.
Right.
And so I'm going to do all of these wifely, wonderful things, and he's going to love it
He's gonna love it.
and enjoy being that husband, right?
That's exactly it.
And so the challenges were when that those expectations and
Mm-hmm.
assumptions um, didn't go as smoothly as I thought.
Things didn't go as planned.
They didn't go as planned.
Yes, yes.
Wasn't as smooth,
Right,
and so then you get the kickback, and you're going kind of like, nobody told me about this part, or
right.
what am I doing wrong? What is going on? Why doesn't he? I would say like, maybe not like, but respond how I want him to respond to me being a wife
Mm.
or
Any of the
being the wife that I think I should or need to be.
any of the ladies, any of the wives in the audience
Hmm.
out there can relate to what she's saying. Go ahead and drop some thumbs up in the chat if you can relate to what she's saying in the early days of marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I hope the people who are thinking about getting married,
Mm.
but hadn't done it, and the people, especially the wives who are already married, are like really tapping in
Yeah.
and listening to what you're gonna
And
be sharing.
unspoken expectations
Yes.
that I never shared or talked about.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. You just it's just supposed to happen by
Just magic.
yeah. Real magic. Real magic. So that's a good thing. That leads into my second question.
Hmm.
What were your expectations of marriage before we got married, and how have they evolved over the years? So what were your expectations before we get, so you've been talking about these, what were
Right.
some of those, and I need specifics. I
Oh,
don't need
there
the
he go.
generalization
Because I'm
stuff.
such a general person, unless
Yes, you
I could
are.
think about specifics.
Uh-huh.
If I can think back that far on specifics, first I'm gonna give a general answer. So coming in, some of those unspoken expectations could be just minor things, but for me, I already had that fairy tale somewhat
Mm-hmm.
image of
Right.
marriage and what I wanted it to be. So it
Mm-hmm.
would be all the things that you were told or thought that the man should do in the house, like
Mm-hmm.
um take out the trash. That's a big one, and we love the cliche that one.
Mm-hmm.
Help around the house,
Mm-hmm.
do some of the things, communicate well, communicate more, tell
Mm-hmm.
me your thoughts and feelings.
Be a woman. Be a woman
Right,
on that. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Tell me your thoughts and feelings. What else did I expect you to do?
yeah. Oh.
Easily have money conversations, emerge money, let me manage the money. These were kind of things that I kind of assumed would go very easy. In the beginning. It's like, okay, I can do this. I've done this before. I'm pretty good. So we're going to have these conversations a little bit before, see where he is. And I just assume you're going to let me handle these things because that's what I do well.
Hmm. Hmm. Hey, remember, if you're in the comments down there, you have a question for my wife, feel free to drop it in the comments. I am interviewing my wife
Yes.
tonight. I am interviewing Tamika. She's going to drop some knowledge, some wisdom, I think, as we ask these questions. And here's the thing, she's not seen these questions.
Mm-mm. I have
She's not seen these questions. She's like, you didn't even tell me what kind of question. Yeah, you
I have
did.
no idea.
Yeah, no idea. So if you also have a question for her as a wife, go ahead and drop that down there in the comments, and we'll get to your question. So here we go. Here we go.
Keep going.
Um,
Let's go.
so over the years, so you answered the first part, like what were some of those expectations, but over the years, how have those things evolved? Your expectations.
How have my expectations evolved over the years? Going from unspoken to spoken expectations. So figuring out he's no mind reader. He didn't have the same expectations as I did. Maybe he wasn't told the same thing. This is what women do, or you know, are gonna do when you get married and stuff like that. So the biggest thing is being honest
Hmm.
and speaking up and saying more. This is what I expect.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
And sometimes, that was hard because you kind of come in. I think both. One, because we didn't date for a long period of time.
right.
And so you kind of go in, oh, even though I was who I was, at the same time, I was still like that people pleaser type person. So I was like, oh, I really want this to go well. So even if I don't necessarily want to or like it, I'm going to go along with it. And once you've been told, you kind of do that anyways in marriage,
Yeah,
then you just go along with it,
yeah,
without saying or speaking or talking about your own expectations or your own feelings or truths about the situation.
yeah. Carol said that I can relate. My marriage expectations were the fairy tale and happily ever after without problems.
For sure.
With the laughing emoji, absolutely.
Exactly. That's the picture we have in our mind. We're gonna marry this, perfect being, and he's gonna be
Bless
good.
y'all
And
heart, because men don't have none of them.
really,
We don't really have those type of fairy tales. We have some different fairy tales, and I guess it's that we'll reserve that for a late night marriage live,
we definitely
because that's
have to.
adult conversation right there. So let me ask you this:
Hmm.
what has been one of the biggest challenges you faced as a wife, and how did you overcome it? Oh yeah, we gonna get naked tonight.
The biggest challenge.
Do, 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 do,
It kind
do,
of goes back to
do, do.
that one. Speaking up.
That's the biggest challenge you had as a wife, is
It,
speaking up.
I think because everything kind of goes from there. Of course, you know how I am. I'm a thinker, and so I'm gonna really think out this process. The biggest challenge, not being honest about feelings and speaking up when I think I should have or I was supposed to, um, in the marriage.
Hmm. Okay. Hmm.
And not speaking up just leads to all kind of other things, I
It
think.
does. It leads to a whole bunch of self talk.
But it leads to definitely a whole bunch of self-talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
plenty of that.
Yeah.
Plenty of self-talk in my head of how he would respond to things, how I wanted him to respond to things.
Right.
And then when he didn't, you know, how do we get past this?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Without bumping heads.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Carol said one of the biggest challenges is accepting you cannot change your spouse.
For sure.
God dog it, where my air horn button at? I feel like I should hit a DJ air horn on this one.
For sure.
Yeah, I feel like that
Right.
should be.
That he
Yeah,
was or is who he is.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things. I just
Mm-hmm.
had this conversation with somebody recently. I think one of the worst things you can do, one of the most disingenuous things you can do,
Mm-hmm.
is change for your spouse.
Right.
I think that your spouse should be able to bring things that they feel you need to change to you, and that
Mm-hmm.
you need to honestly, wholeheartedly, prayerfully consider what they're bringing to you
Mm-hmm.
and ask a simple question. Not if me making this change is going to make my spouse happier, but is it going to make me a better
Better,
person?
for sure.
If it makes me a better person, then I'm going to be committed to that change. But if I do it just because it's going to make them happy,
Mm-hmm.
as soon as, because there's never just one change, as soon as they don't appreciate it or
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge it, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to get bitterness and resentment. And then I'm going to stop doing it because I
Right.
didn't do it to make me better. I did it to make them happy.
Right. And I think manipulating them into change, because
Yeah.
a lot of times people get manipulated into
Hmm.
change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a serious conversation that a lot of couples can have is think about who your spouse was and who they are now, and ask them, and think about the things you asked them to change. And if you real brave, have that conversation about, did you change because it made you better, or did you change because it made me happy?
Mm.
Now, the truth is, as we mature in the beginning, we may have changed to make them happy, but over time we discovered it made us better.
Right.
But and I think that the coward's way out, yeah, I'm talking real strong tonight. The coward's way out is if you have that conversation and say, "Oh yeah, I did it to make you happy, but then I realized that it made me better." And the reason I call that the coward's way out is
Mhm.
if that's not true, that's the coward's way out. But the bold person way out is to say, "I
Excuse
did it
me.
because it made you happy,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm still doing it because it makes you happy, not because I want to do
Mm.
it." And because then that brings a different conversation. That means you have somebody who feels like they're not able to be who they are, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't feel like they can have the conversation with you about it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's and that's the thing for me is I rather somebody be I rather you be who you are. Let me get to know that, because I always say I don't want someone to fall in love with me. I want somebody to learn to love me. And that means I also want somebody I can learn to love.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to get those flaws or whatever. But if you don't tell it to me, or you assume that I want something a certain way, then hey, that's what it is. But I'm gonna get back
and
to you.
and it's going to be that thing of learning to love the person regardless
Uh-huh.
of the falling in love with the idea of them, or the things in the beginning, or
Right.
whatever, or just how you like them, the romantic part of it.
Yeah.
Then once the journey starts of marriage, then you have to fall, not fall in love, but learn to love the person and love them for who they are,
Yes.
regardless. Because if you don't um get that part of it or do it, then you're not going to have a good marriage.
If you can only love the version of them that is in your head,
Hmm.
you are living a lie.
Right. And then what they do and not who they are,
Yes.
you
Yes.
are living a lie. And you can only do that for so long.
Yeah. So let me ask this. How do you handle conflicts and disagreements in our marriage? And what advice would you give other couples dealing with similar issues?
Um, how do I do it now?
Yeah, hey,
Hey, we
sure.
need to
Yeah.
talk. No.
I
No.
wish.
Oh, you wish?
I wish.
I try to, first of all, think about what it is that I want to really talk about. And you learn through the years, is this worth it? But if it's very important to you, you definitely should have the conversation. Um, and you never get it perfect. You may do good for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then because you're two different people and you're evolving and changing, it's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
So usually I like to pray first, unless it's
Mm-hmm.
just conflict that comes up and you go, what is happening? Um, Now instead of just reacting, I
Mm-hmm.
want to respond. So I'm gonna take a minute,
Mm-hmm.
be quiet, kind of listen, and go, how do I want to respond to this?
Mm-hmm.
And now I think my response are a little better or more mature
Mm-hmm.
than they would have been, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, definitely 25 years ago
Mm. Okay.
of how I want to respond. And then I'm thinking about resolve,
Mm-hmm.
because it always goes back to we're on the same team. So I don't want to keep the conflict going. And
Mm-hmm.
can we agree to disagree? Can we respect each other? Can we still love each other no matter what the
Right.
response or what the outcome is going to be?
Right.
And so that's the biggest thing. At the end of the day, we still gonna have to be here and love each other and live with each other.
Gonna have to thug it out.
We're gonna have to thug it out.
Thug it out here, right? Okay, cool, cool, cool. Listen, if you have questions for my wife, not for me, for my wife, because I am interviewing my wife tonight. I am interviewing
Hey,
Tamika.
I see Lex.
You can drop your question or your question in the comments, and she will answer your question. Hey, what's
Will
going
do.
on, Lex? So yeah, you can drop your question in the comment, and she will answer it. So let's talk about this. Let's transition.
Mm-hmm.
What are some ways you think we've grown as a couple over the years?
Oh, you sipping your tea. So no, I think we have really grown over the years. With
How?
how
Mm-hmm.
um resolving conflict a little sooner,
Okay.
a little better,
Okay.
without all the pots and pans. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We
If y'all
thought.
ever saw the scar on my nose, I could tell y'all the story of how I got it.
And it was not for me.
Okay. That's what she said. Got
um,
one over my eye to match.
Stop it. Stop it. But without, I think going for days without talking or wanting to resolve whatever the issue is, I think we've gotten better at that. Communicating some, we're still not 100% at communicating. Some
Right.
days we do, I, some days we do good, some
Mm-hmm.
days not so much. Um, but learning how to communicate better
Mm-hmm.
is definitely one of the biggest thing.
Okay. All right. That's cool. That's cool. So now it's story time.
Mm.
Stop trying to peep over here at my
Oh,
questions.
okay. Let me.
Can you share a story about a time when you felt particularly proud of how we handled a difficult situation together?
Um.
While she thinks about that, people, we want to just let you guys know
Okay.
we'll be dropping a date here soon where we're going to be doing a free workshop at our office
Mm-hmm.
coming up in July. We're going to be dropping the date and the information. The time is going to be from, I think we said 10 to 12, and it's going to be a free workshop. It's going to be a rich conversations workshop. We are also in the planning phases of a couple other things that we're not quite ready to announce. We want to make sure we have the dates and locations locked down so that you can go out immediately
Mm-hmm.
and get your ticket. But it might be something like a master class. Yeah, something like that. So,
You
are you
enjoy it.
ready?
I am. I'm 25 years of data. Um,
Oh,
the one I'm thinking about, I think we talked about it before. I can't remember what we was doing. It was one morning. It was miscommunication with, was it getting Shay to college and back or something? And then the way I said something, and I think the way you responded was kind of like you wanted to go back and forth or
mm,
have this argument. And I was like, that's not what we're doing today. And so I kind of broke it down. I didn't do it in like a haughty, or I didn't do it with an attitude. It
uh
was
huh.
you know, kind of light
Mm-hmm.
how I made the situation and goes, let's talk about it. And so what I did was explain my perspective or my point of view on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you came back and explained yours.
Mm-hmm.
And we both go, aha, I see how I missed that. We didn't communicate fully.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of apologized right there and left it there and solved the issue.
Mm-hmm.
You remember what it was, or you remember?
I don't. I remember the situation. I don't know if it was about Shay going to school. Because I can
Mhm.
remember the road I was on when we had the discussion. I was coming down. Is that Duval is the one way?
Mhm.
Um, and I was getting ready to cross over right over Tennessee Street when we was having the discussion.
Really?
Uh
So
huh.
you remember that?
I can remember, but I can't remember the topic. But I remember it's about to go left.
Oh, it was
It's about to
definitely
go
about to
left.
go
Yeah,
left.
it was going
And
down.
so
Yeah.
instead of letting it continue to go down the rabbit trail, rabbit hole, go left, whatever you want to say, it was
Mm-hmm.
like, let's bring this back in
Mm-hmm.
because that's not
Yeah.
what we want to do.
Because matter of fact, if it's the same situation I'm thinking of, I apologize to you for raising my voice. And you was
Mm-hmm.
like, no, babe, I understand. I said, no, 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 no.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of the
You did.
circumstance, it is I should not have like lost my temper and raised my voice at you. And I apologize for that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we came to the right conclusion, whatever, I apologize for how I reacted instead of
Find it.
responding in
Mm-hmm.
that situation.
And the
And
reason why I didn't necessarily the raising of the voice, I was apologetic or about it. Or I mean I was like, it's good because over the years I have learned to see heart and not tone.
right,
Not saying that was necessarily right. So I really appreciated that you apologized for the
right,
tone. But early in marriage or, earlier on, tone was a really big thing for me.
right.
And so if it was wrong tone, it turned me off, or I definitely didn't bring up or talk about a lot of things because of tone.
Yeah. I think that for our marriage, and I've said this to you before, for our marriage, I think that sometimes y- I realize that I can be abrasive. I'm completely aware of that. I know who I am.
And I do too.
Right. And so I know who I am,
Right.
but I think that, and this is part of where we came up with the credit card analogy. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think I get my full credit sometimes
Mm-hmm.
because I think sometimes when I get in that abrasive mode, instead of you getting curious about it, you hear your
Mm-hmm.
mom's voice. Because my
Mm-hmm.
mother-in-law can be abrasive. That's
Mm-hmm.
just who she is. She's
Mm-hmm.
a loving lady. She'll do the as much as she can for you, but she can
Sure.
get wrong,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I think that growing up, hearing that sometimes that I didn't get the full credit for myself because it's kind of like I'm hearing my mom's voice
Yeah.
or whatever. And
Yeah.
so
I can agree with that.
I think that happens, and that's where we encourage couples a lot of time. Make sure whose voice you're hearing,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes when your spouse isn't doing something, you're hearing your absent father's voice, your abusive mother's voice. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not calling your mom abusive. I'm just
Right.
saying you're hearing the voice of something that was planted in your childhood or in other relationships, and
Mm-hmm.
you're not giving that person their full voice.
And that's why counsel and therapy is so important because once you become aware, you can go, oh, okay, this is why I'm not giving him full credit. This has been an issue. And then when you learn to deal with that, then you can talk about or deal, or I can give you more credit the more aware I am of what's causing me to not give you full credit.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Alexis has a question for you
Mm-hmm.
before I move to our next one. She
Okay.
says, how often do you show Damon he's appreciated? Do you wait on anniversary, Father's Day, Valentine's Day? Woo! I can't, sis, thank you for asking that question. Woo, I can't wait. I
um
can't wait. Can't
No,
wait.
I don't. I think the more you have to be definitely intentional, the more years we have, because you can get kind of comfortable, complacent with not doing as much. But for me, I always wanted to be a little different. So I wanted to do things throughout the year or different times. Now on those days, I still do stuff, um try to, but after so many years, I like, there's only so many pair of boxers you can buy. No, I try I try to be original on birthdays and what is it, Valentine's Day and stuff like that, because there was a point that we really didn't do Valentine's Day like that.
We didn't do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we
Like,
would acknowledge it some or whatever. And I think, to be honest, I thought you would downplay or not necessarily be caught up on holidays like that or Valentine's Day. So that was where I would do the same thing. Oh, he's not into it like that. So my fairy tale ness, I would, not talk about it or say what I really wanted or expected
Mm-hmm.
on these days or whatever. Even if we go, if you get super spiritual and people go, oh, well, that's a pagan holiday and all of the things and stuff like that. And you do, um, till you grow in that place, I
Mm-hmm.
think in Christ and in word and stuff like that, you go, yeah, I know, but I still want to celebrate this day.
Right.
And so acknowledge this day. So let's do something, but not full on like, oh, this is Valentine's Day and we got to do this, or this is the only time that we go way out or show people love. For me, I'm not big on doing things because other people necessarily do them or say, we got to do it on this day, or this is how you express your love or how you really care
Mm-hmm.
about someone. I think it should be shown all the time, period, throughout the year. But I do still do something on those days because that's just how I'm built. I'm big on cards. He's not. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I still like to get a card.
Mm-hmm.
I used to feel bad when I would, spend all my time and energy into buying these cards because I'm like, for me to go card shopping, it's not like just run in the store, pick up a card, and I'm reading through tons of cards, a lot of cards to pick the right one for where we are in life, the situation, how I feel, because I don't want to give you something or a card that expresses something I really don't think I feel or where we are at the time. So I'll pick out a card or something. And so early on, you used to get the card or whatever. If there was a gift card in there, hey, sometimes I would deliberately not put a gift card or anything in there because you know how y'all are about cards. You'd be like, you shaking it and doing all the things, looking for the money, the gift card, the gift certificate, whatever it may be. So I wanted to see if he really read the card and got the message or see where I was coming from and seeing my heart through the card. And he'd be like, okay. And like, I would find it underneath the bed, behind the bed, on the table, wherever. It was a card. And so learning to go, okay, how do you receive love or asking or how do you feel love? What is it that I can do? Love language. We'll go to love language. What is your love language for like these holidays or for these situations and stuff like that? Because clearly it's not like me having cards and that you read them and this means a lot to you. So is it a gift? And I think when we met, he likes gifts or things.
Kinda. You know how I feel about the love languages. I've come to like I like the love languages. I
Mm-hmm.
get it, but I think the love languages make us lazy, and the love languages overlooks something significant.
Mm.
So when people take the love language, oh, this is my love language. I don't think people where so it makes us lazy. So we figure we can take a quiz, and that tells us what the love language of our spouse is, and now I got the roadmap. But then where I think it gets dangerous is you don't know how they develop that love language. So
Mm.
gifts for me, even though this was before the five love languages and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
gifts for me was a result of
Yep.
not feeling celebrated
Mm-hmm.
as a kid.
For sure.
And so that love language was tainted
Mm-hmm.
by trauma.
Yeah.
So that ain't
And you
even my real love language.
it's not. And you can tell because it's like the more, okay, he likes gifts and things, the more you get somebody and get something, they're okay with it, kind of, sort of for a minute, but it's not enough. There's something still missing. There's still a disconnect. So that's when you know it's deeper than that
Yeah.
or it's more than that.
It's deeper.
Yeah. So they can tell you, but I think the more you get to know the person, the more you communicate, the more you go to coaching, counseling, therapy, all of the things, you're going to hear me say that and really get to know that person. And then just behaviors and patterns and stuff and go, there's something there. So when they let you in or if they're vulnerable enough, be able to see what it is, even
Mhm.
if they don't know how to communicate it verbally.
Mm-hmm.
and then kind of move from there and go, oh, there's an issue here. So let me try this and try different things to see if it works. But I
Yeah.
hope that answers your question.
Hold on. Get back in that mic for
Oh,
you,
I hope that.
cause I no.
Okay.
You're good. You're
Mm-hmm.
good. Um, one of the things I wanted to say about that, about because of what I went through as a kid and how
Mm-hmm.
I felt about my childhood, um, even to this day, it's hard for me to accept celebration.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to accept people appreciating me. It's hard for like I don't expect it, and when it happens, it feels awkward to me.
It does. And he
Uh,
makes you feel that it feels awkward
yeah,
to him.
not that I'm trying to, but
Right.
it makes me. And I was thinking about something like from people that are external to my family, meaning my close family unit, you guys,
Mm-hmm.
you and the kids. I think this past birthday type season was the most loved I felt in a long while. And this is beyond just you and the kids,
Mm-hmm.
but and I said I was gonna call her tomorrow when Auntie Alice took the time to pick me some blueberries and plums.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never be able to communicate about how that made me feel.
Mm-hmm.
Then when her and Tawana brought me cards for my
Mm-hmm.
birthday,
Mm-hmm.
I'll never be able to communicate how that feel. It's not that I look down on what others have done,
Right.
but they did stuff they legitimately did not have to do and I was not expecting. So when it comes down to that appreciation,
Mm-hmm.
the appreciation out the blue means so much more to me
Yeah.
than the autopilot appreciation on the Valentines
Time.
and the
Yeah.
birthdays and all of that.
Right.
Because autopilot, I don't know if that's real.
Right.
You know, it's just I got to check the box.
Right. And so, and that's why I say I do things outside of that. But on those days, just because I like those
Days,
days and
yeah.
stuff, I still do stuff. I know how he's going to feel about it, but that's like our compromise. He know I'm gonna buy a car. He know I'm gonna do a little something because I love to celebrate people,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's small, like small things. It doesn't always have to be big because that ain't always my wallet, right? So I don't always have to, that's not always my wallet to
Right.
have the money to do things and stuff like that. And I had to learn with him because Damon is a little bougie. So he likes electronics and high ticketed items that,
We ain't talking about me.
oh, okay. I thought that's what I thought we was
Oh,
doing.
okay.
High ticketed items that sometimes was not my wallet. So I need to make him feel loved and special um outside of just gifts or material things.
Okay. Okay.
Do we have another
Tan,
one?
Tan asked the question,
Mm-hmm.
Tamika, what's your definition of being submissive?
My definition of being submissive is um being able to be okay with me necessarily not getting my way or knowing it doesn't have to go my way, or because wills can be very strong and I don't know if people understand how strong.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's my will to really do something or I think this is the best thing and Damon thinks it's something else or he wants to go in a different direction, um, for me to go, it's okay, and I don't have to kick and scream, get my way. And here's the thing: even if he doesn't or I give in and it's not right, still being okay with it and not bringing it up or using it against him or going, oh, I'm gonna let him do it just to prove that I was right or my way was right or was gonna be right.
Mm.
Yeah. So submissive is truly one, you have to know who you are as a woman, know who you are as a wife, and be okay with giving up something that you really still want or want to do. And that is not easy. And that is not easy. And letting him be the head and not making him feel a certain way about me being submissive. Submissive comes with a whole um just attitude period.
Mm.
and how it is to be able to be humble and lay something down.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the life of Christ, that's the most submissive life, to God, to his Father. Even when he could, he didn't. So a lot of times, even if I can, doesn't mean I necessarily should.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to swallow that pill,
Mm-hmm.
not be prideful
Mm-hmm.
about it, and say, okay, because at the end of the day, what is best for the marriage? Not me, not him. What is best for the relationship? What is best overall?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because we're on the same team. But yes.
Yeah. Submissiveness is one of those things, and that, yeah, that's a whole topic, because I think, and you said something about the head, and again, I'm not going to talk too much because this is your interview.
Mm-hmm.
But you said something about the head, and here's the thing about the head. I think the problem that happens is both husband and wife believes if he's the head, then she's the tail, because you're the head,
Right.
not the tail.
Right.
And men have that perspective. Oh, I'm the head, so she the
Mm-hmm.
tail. No. And then the woman has that perspective, even if the man ain't saying that. Oh, he the head, I'm the tail.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how that goes.
Yeah. I think it's been taught completely wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Period. And so a lot of times you do get the man quoting that you got to submit to me and what it
Mm-hmm.
looks like. But there is something that he has to do regardless too, and he has to submit to someone too,
Mm-hmm.
to God. And so if it doesn't work in unison, it is always going to be hard. You're always going to be bumping heads. And if he doesn't fully understand what that means, not that, oh, I'm head, she has to submit. So everything I do and say, like a servant, or you know what I'm saying, like that,
Mm-hmm.
that she has to do. So if that's the man's or husband's concept of submitting, then he's got it wrong too. And it's going to be hard to submit to that. It really is. But not that we hadn't been there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's trial, error, and learning and going,
Right.
oh, that it was out of context. So submissive have been taking, being submissive have been taken out of context, period.
Right. And the thing about submission is, husband, is not for you to make her submit,
Mm-hmm.
and wife is not for you to make him lead correctly or
Mm-hmm.
like get submission correctly. There is a trust
Mm-hmm.
that you have to actually have in the one who asked you to submit,
Right.
which is God,
Yeah.
in order to get that right. There's a trust that you have to have in the one who said you are the head, that helps you get that right.
Mm-hmm. So all of those things come into play, and basically, submissive is just yielding. And a lot of times, we don't, or people try to leave that out and go, "That's not really what submissive." But if you look up the definition, you do have to yield, and sometimes do something that you don't necessarily want or agree with.
There is a level of control that comes. A man cannot lead what he cannot control, but the word control has been made to be this nasty thing
Mm-hmm.
when it's not. When President Barack Obama, President Biden, any president walks into a room
Mm-hmm.
and they have Secret Service, in order to stay safe, they have to submit to the control of the Secret Service.
Right.
So in reality, the Secret Service is the most powerful people in the room, because they have to submit to the authority of the Secret Service agent,
Right.
right, to keep their life safe.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Carol, no,
What did she say?
I
And the submission isn't about you.
yeah,
Remember, these vows are about what I said to God, or in front of God, about Him,
uh-huh,
not to Him necessarily. So for me, completely trust God in those moments, like, Lord, this is a struggle and I really don't want to do it. But at the end of the day, trusting God in the outcome
yeah. You look
is
at
going to be
Sarah.
favorable
If
for
you
me.
look at how Sarah trusted God concerning Abraham, and God always looked out for her. Yeah, Carol, that ain't scripture. That ain't scripture at all, ma'am. We gonna pray for you. I'm putting you on my prayer list just because of
And the
that
woman
comment.
is the neck.
I'm putting you in that. I'm putting you on my prayer list, just because of that comment. Yep, you're going on the prayer list. All right. What has been a defining moment in our marriage that has strengthened our bond?
Ooh, a defining moment. Has it been one moment? Um,
While she's thinking about that,
yeah. For me, it's getting over, getting through the toughest time in our life, in our relationship. Um, about 10 years ago. So the healing process and the journey period throughout those years was definitely um defining moments and has strengthened our bond of letting go of who we thought each other were,
mm-hmm,
really getting to know who each other is,
mm-hmm,
um, continue willing to be open about it,
mm-hmm,
um, always the process of learning to love, continuing learning to love um, who they are or who he is. And the same, I think, for defining the marriage, forgiving each other, and one for saying this is our second marriage. To me, that was like the defining moment to go.
mm-hmm.
We did away with the first marriage, and the second one, when we go, and we didn't get a divorce actually.
In a matter of speaking,
In a matter of speaking, we didn't get
we
it
didn't legally get a
legally.
divorce. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, that was the defining moment and going, we've got to do something different. We can't continue to do what we did in the first half of our marriage or before that. Um, and being intentional about it.
Okay. Cryptic, cryptic. We'll talk about that on Late Night Marriage Live.
Yes.
Hey, listen, before I get to my next question,
To
we
go
getting
a
ready
little
to
deeper
get,
into
well,
that.
yeah, to go deeper. What is a topic y'all would like us to cover in our next Late Night Marriage Live? We're starting to look for dates, locations. We want to do another Late Night Marriage Live. You loved it. We loved it. What's some things you want us to cover? Drop it down in the comments.
Yeah.
All right.
And we'll do that.
Yeah. Is there a particular experience or event that made you feel especially loved and supported as a wife? Don't make nothing up.
No, but not like one special event for me. Um, it's small things. I can think of one particular
Go
that
for it.
was I can think of
Go
this
for
one,
it.
but it's been
I wasn't sure I was gonna get one. I was gonna say I ain't gonna get
no.
one.
There's been many, but
Finances.
so when you called a good friend of mine, Brownie,
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted we what concert did we go to? That was the Mary Mary concert here in Tallahassee.
Mm-mm. It's the Mary J. Blige
Oh,
one.
it sure was. Oh,
It
okay.
was
So we did go to that concert here in Tallahassee, but that's not the one. It
no.
was the one in Orlando.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, well, you called and made arrangements pretty much for me to go
Mm-hmm.
without me knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
I also had to get permission from the fan club president of the Mary J. Blige fan club, Deshaun Burgess, Deshaun Broxton.
right.
So I had to get that approval, and then I called Brownie.
Yeah, yeah. So he planned and called around and kind of like, you know, made plans for me to go on a trip and go to a concert.
Yeah.
And it was a time that I really needed to get away.
Yeah.
So I needed the break. I needed to get away. And we were still going through.
Oh yeah, we was in hell.
we,
We was in hell.
yeah, we was
Ain't no,
going through
yeah,
hell.
yeah,
It was
yeah, yeah.
like, some major
Yeah.
moments. And he still took out the time to do that.
I ain't never tell you that.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
I wasn't supposed to know. I figured it out.
No, you did.
Yes, I did.
You ain't figured that out.
I
You ain't that
figured
kind of detective.
I am.
Let me keep it
So
moving.
I figured it out. But anyways, he did that and he didn't have to, especially then.
Especially then. Yeah. What have you learned about yourself through our marriage?
I'm not Superwoman. Oh no, no. What am I?
Whoa.
I'm not that kind of girl. Okay.
Uh, huh,
Um,
huh,
what?
huh. Hey, E
What
taught the
have I learned?
she.
I have learned that you still have to set boundaries in marriage. That what was the question again?
What have you learned about yourself through our marriage?
Oh,
This is
about
about
myself.
yourself.
Okay, about myself. So learning that I had to speak up, have to be honest, no matter how I think it's going to turn out or hurt. I have to stop doing self talk. I have to go to therapy, continue some kind of coaching, counsel, um,
Don't encourage that, Lexus.
in some way, shape, or form. Um, what else did I learn about myself? That I had to let go of pride.
Let it
Um,
go.
yeah,
Let
let
it
go
go.
of pride.
Let it.
I learned that I needed to be more vulnerable. Um,
Have you been?
yeah,
We
don't
started that conversation earlier today.
we
We're gonna
did,
finish
and we're
that.
gonna finish that
Oh
one.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
so we
yeah.
still have really good conversations. Um, what have I learned about myself?
I don't know. You don't want me to tell you.
I don't know. I'm asking
Oh.
myself, but you can tell me too. You know what
Uh-uh.
I've learned about myself? No.
Oh, I can tell you a lot that you learned about yourself, but you don't. So here's one of the things I've learned about you when you talk about that pride.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually said this once. I don't know if you had just a momentary lapse of of vulnerability, but
Uh huh.
is is that um I know you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like that I know you because you. It's easier, I think, in your mind for you to assume I don't. And so that's why I say I could tell you
Mm-hmm.
some things that you've learned about yourself
Right.
in
Okay.
the process is
Mm-hmm.
because I it is the word says husbands dwell with your wives according to knowledge. I
Mm-hmm.
take that quite literally,
Mm-hmm.
which means that I have to know you better than you know you. And the only way for me to do that is stay connected to God. Without him, I can't know you
Mm-hmm.
at the level I need to know you
For
so that
sure.
I can dwell with you according to knowledge. And I remember I used to tell you you had pride. I don't have no pride. Okay. Well, I just keep this over here to myself. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
And I can admit that
Yeah. No, no.
for sure.
You've grown in that. You
Excuse me.
I'm glad to hear it. Glad to
Yeah.
hear it.
That and what else have I learned about myself? That he knows me a little bit better now or more. Oh, that's what you learned, not what I learned.
I done
That
knew
I okay,
her.
I learned that I don't know if that's a learning thing, but I got to know me better than
I,
I thought I knew myself
yep.
for sure. So
If
I've learned
you
that.
don't know me.
I've learned that marriage is no walk in the park.
This is about you. Hold
Oh,
on, wait till we get to the rest of the question. You're gonna get
oh,
there.
okay. We're
You're gonna
gonna
get
get
there.
there. I'm
Yeah,
trying to think because I want to talk
yeah.
about everything that I've learned about me. It's been so much. Um, Next question.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
come back to it if
I'll
I
wait.
think of something else.
All right, all right. Can you share some ways you support me as a husband, and how has that impacted our relationship?
Some ways that I support you.
Uh huh. And how
Um,
has that impacted our relationship?
I think anytime I support you, that it impacts it in a positive way. Of course. Sometimes it's just being there. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if it's necessarily always doing something, but letting you know that I have your back,
Mm-hmm.
um, regardless.
Mm.
That I have
Mm.
your back even when I don't necessarily maybe want to have your back, but I got
Mm.
your back. Um, Supported you
Mm.
in different ideas and adventures and stuff that you wanted to do.
Mm.
Um, no, you're not
No,
agree.
I ain't saying
You're
nothing.
not
I ain't
agree.
saying nothing in one way or the other. I'm
Oh,
just listening.
just listening
I'm
to
just listening.
me. Okay, then you let me know later,
Ooh, yes.
right?
I
um,
record the aftermath.
just being supportive. I think as a wife, as a friend,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And this is my thoughts. I think so because a lot of times, wives can be like every time your husband say something or come up with something or wants to do something or have an idea, you shoot it down and be like, or that's not what we're gonna do, or you said that last time, or you know.
Yeah.
So not.
I think there's definitely been areas, I know there's been areas
Mhm.
that I've fallen short and you've hung in there, but I also think I've executed at a high level in a lot of areas too that have maybe not put us where you wanted us to be, but it's
Mhm.
definitely put us further than. I think you were saying something maybe about a month ago, um, if that long, and you were talking about like some realizations you had about like where we are and how far we've come, and like it's easy to look at it one way, but like you got
Mhm.
a different perspective on it
Mhm.
about where we're at, and that like we're really going right direction, whatever. And so there's always room for growth. There's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
No one will be harder on me than I am on myself. That's one of my character strengths and my character flaws, because sometimes people might be like, "Oh, this is phenomenal." I'm like, "No, I can do better,"
Mhm.
and that's
Yeah,
just
we talked
part
about
of
that.
that. Yeah, I'm really hard on me.
Mhm.
So, yeah, cool. Um, I'm getting to the end, y'all. I had three days. I promise. We getting to the end. If you get tired, you can go back and watch the last end of it. We in minute 58. So I'm gonna try and wrap this up. What advice would you give to newly married couples or those about to get married?
Um,
Lean
think
in.
think about one, is this what you really want to do? Why you want to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we say it all the time because we did it. Not to enter into marriage lightly, but understand what marriage really is or what you're about to embark upon in the journey of marriage,
Mm-hmm.
and know that it's not about you as individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would tell them to make sure that they're with their purpose part partner or person, and that you don't just get married because of how you feel, or just about feelings. Don't let it be based on today's feelings of this person, of how you feel, or where you think he is, or how good he is now. But you definitely have to seek God, because you don't know what the future looks like. About, is this my purpose person? you know get to know as much as you can about them. Learn to ask the right questions. That's a whole different conversation within itself, when you're really trying to find out about somebody, and not just the shallow, or surface things. I'll say surface things, because a lot of times we don't ask the more important questions. I will tell you to know you as much as you can. um, Self-development is important for yourself, and learn how to lean into more self-development for yourself, your value, your worth. Work on you. Be aware of
Mm-hmm.
who you are, who you aren't, and be honest about it. Um, be aware of and to be aware of you, you really have to do that deep soul searching and spend time with yourself, and definitely be honest with yourself, because a lot of times we'll do something. So when you were talking about pride and a lot of the things that I say he didn't know me well or would say or tell me, I wasn't being honest, or I didn't see it because I wasn't aware. And so once I became aware, I was able to be honest and go, you know what, he was right. So let me go back to him and
She ain't never tell me that.
let's address that. I didn't. Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Address that. But definitely work on yourself. That is so important, and I'm not going to be able to say that enough. And then know your true deal breakers.
Mm-hmm.
Know your true deal breakers. What's important to you. Be able to set boundaries before and not after. So if just be honest about what those are and not be so infatuated with the idea of love or the romantic part or the romanticism that you put those things on the back burner or go, oh, they'll be okay right now, or something I think I can deal with, because later you're not. It only gets worse. It doesn't get better. So being honest about that, because a lot of times we'll go, when we're living in la la land, or because we want something so badly, we'll be like, oh, those little things, they kind of bother me, or they might be a deal breaker. So when you don't know who you truly are, your likes and dislikes, then you can waver on those things. But when you know, you're gonna be like, this not gonna work for me. So you're not gonna waste your time, and you're not gonna waste anyone else's time. And go, oh, we'll try to. And I mean, you can, and you can definitely work through it. It's just gonna be a lot of work, a lot harder. In the way people are, the divorce rate is today, where people can't hardly put up with anything or go through those tough times. Um, it'll be difficult.
Yeah.
It'll be difficult. So I try to make it easier when I counsel or coach or talk to women about marriage, especially on one, of just being truly, brutally honest with yourself.
Yeah. I think that people overlook a lot of things during the dating phase that they feel is going to just get better magically. And
Mm-hmm.
then they end up getting married and get divorced.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the this can be a topic all in of itself, of indicators that you're going to get a divorce while you're dating, and that unspoken expectations and not being able to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Because think about it, you're going down the altar and saying for better or for worse.
Mm-hmm.
That means you got to look at that person in their worst state,
Right.
their worst possible condition,
And most people don't think about that.
and still say, I'm going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
But you can barely deal with that person in their slightly, not even worse condition. They just irks my nerve condition, and you already want to leave, or you want to do this, or you want to do that. And it's like, nah, that's just not how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you didn't make that vow to them, you made that vow to God. So God ain't ask you for that lie. You can keep your lie. But yeah, that's one of the things. And one of the things that we try and prepare couples for and warn them is public declarations put a lot of pressure on your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Public declarations of, I think social media is maybe one of the worst things that can kind of happen. This is like a blessing and a curse. It is public declarations um, come up, and when those public declarations hit,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, now it's got a title, it's got a label, we got to do this, and that starts it. Then you get engaged, and now there's more public declaration. Then you
Right.
send out wedding invitations, even more public declarations,
Mm-hmm.
and all of that shame and pride and certain things like that
Right.
hold you back,
Mm-hmm.
holds you back from doing what you really need to do.
Mm-hmm.
It holds you back from being truthful, because now you're more invested in the keeping up the image
Right.
than dealing with the issues.
For sure.
And if you would just deal with the ugly truth of the issues, you can actually get to more than just an image, but a reality of the
Mm-hmm.
relationship that you desire. But you got to deal with the ugly parts early.
Right.
You got to deal
Right.
with the ugly parts early.
Um, For sure. And I was going to say, be who you are and don't pretend to be who you want to be.
Yes.
Just be who you are at that moment in that time so they get to know that person. And then because, and hopefully everybody does, because you're going to grow, you're going to change, at least you should want to, or that's what you're striving for. Um, and you do that together, or you're just going to do that anyways, but don't pretend. I will say don't pretend to be someone who you are really not,
Yeah.
just to get that person, or just to go, my clock is ticking and I want to get married, so I got to do this. And then,
I
what is
don't want
it, Dr.
Jekyll
Jekyll
and
and
Mr.
Mr. Hyde,
Hyde.
and
Yeah.
then you completely somebody else when you get married, or to say I do, and you go be like, or they're like, oh my goodness, who is this? And vice versa, the same thing.
Yeah.
So don't pretend.
Yeah. I'm going to say this, and then I see one question, and I
Mhm.
definitely see some good topics. We're going to jot those down.
Oh.
But the thing that I look at is, you said Dr. Jekyll and Mr.
Mr. Hyde.
Hyde, right?
Mhm.
Is you can, when you get to the marriage, because a lot of people live for the wedding. When you get to the marriage, a lot of times the marriage shows up, did for us, as the uninvited house guest.
Mhm.
And you don't even know how to treat the house guest, because you're like, I ain't asked for you to show up here with
Right.
all your expectations of submission and leading and
Right.
and
Mhm.
love and understanding and all of that. It's like, nah, that ain't even what it is. So we do have
I
to get
just
to that place.
And I'm thinking about the scripture that says a form of godliness denying
Yeah.
the power of. I just want a form of marriage.
Yeah. But I don't want the
and
power of it.
right, and denying the power, and you can't. So
Yeah.
there is really no form of marriage. I mean, you
Marriage
can, but it's not a good thing to do.
marriage takes sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the
So
thing
have
about
some.
sacrifice. Anything that sacrificed died.
Yep, for sure.
You get married at an altar for a
To die.
reason. To die. To
To
die.
you.
Yeah, to die. To die,
Yep.
to die, to die. All right. So there was a question here. What do you think about the new trend of women proposing to men?
Oh, it's a no go. Absolutely not. We not doing that.
Well, it happened in Isaiah 4 and 1. They proposed.
Who? When?
Isaiah 4 and 1.
Oh, yeah, that's one of your.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I don't like that trend.
Something else. And I
Mhm.
think this is why that trend is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Another horrible reason to get married is loneliness. There is a
yeah.
loneliness worse than being alone.
For sure.
I want you to understand there's a
Mm.
loneliness worse than being alone. And
Mhm.
here's what that loneliness looks like: thinking you have somebody
Mm-hmm.
only to discover that you don't.
Yeah, that loneliness is worse than like when you feel it when you're single. And
Yeah.
you go, oh, I'm so lonely, and I just want to be married, to be with somebody, to have companionship, and this and that and the other. In marriage, you will feel lonely.
If you think you're lonely now,
You just
ooh,
do.
yeah.
There are times where
Wait
you feel like you are
tonight,
completely alone.
girl.
So
Yes.
we just let you know you're not, when you get married, that doesn't take away loneliness
That
per se.
loneliness is
But
worse.
yes, I do not like the trend of women proposing, men pursue, women present. So you present yourself. They pursue you. They ask to have your hand in marriage. I think you being honest or saying that you want to be married and speaking up, that's one thing. But actually doing the proposing and asking them to marry you, I'm just not a fan.
You know what? I'm gonna start a new trend. Everybody that get coached and counseled by us when you marry, if you get coached by us, or if you're engaged and you get coached by us for pre-marriage education, you got to wear an engagement ring too. So ladies, get your ducks up. After he get down on one knee, you get down on one knee and give him his ring, and y'all go ahead and y'all both betrothed with evidence.
That he's spoken for too, not
Yeah,
just her.
with evidence. With evidence.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where that comes from.
I'm gonna research it now, but I think there should be a symbol on the men's hand or
Right.
somewhere too.
Oh, not
Put a
just that.
put a
Yeah,
cattle
we
brand on
talked
him or
about
something.
that before, but where? Oh, yes, we do. I know where you're gonna go with that. If I say about women proposing to men.
I think it's dumb. Women shouldn't do that. Hey, Lexus,
Mhm.
let's brand Brandon.
Okay.
Y'all done propose. Let's put a cattle brand
Right.
on it.
Mhm.
Yeah, a big A.
Yeah. I
Mm,
think it's a part of our as women your uniqueness and who you are as a woman to being pursued and being asked to know that you're special.
yeah.
And that's a special thing for someone to ask you to marry them and then you have the choice to say yes or no.
See, where we've gotten off on this is biblically. Here's one of the things I think is happening with a lot of um, marriage pre-education, marriage pre-marriage education, marriage stuff. We like to mix and mingle scripture with
Mhm.
society.
Mhm.
But when you go straight word and you understand, like a man had to come prove that he was capable of taking care of that man's daughter
For sure.
in order for the father to sign off on it.
Mhm.
Can you take care of my daughter?
Mhm.
Can you provide for her at or above what I'm doing for her now?
Mhm.
If you can't, you're not worthy of her hand. I don't care how much you love
Mhm.
her. I don't care how much. So a woman proposing to a man is essentially saying to the man, I'm capable of taking care
Care
of
of
you.
you.
Let, okay. All right. So let me get to this last question. I have several more questions, but I'm
And
gonna
she
wrap it
could
up.
be. Oh,
I'm
did
gonna
I
wrap it
answer
up.
the other one?
Uh, a woman proposing seems like an act
Oh,
of
race
desperation.
for sure.
Oh yeah, I can go with that. I can
Mhm.
go with that.
Yeah. I
And
go. It's past being thirsty. It's you dehydrated.
you dehydrated.
Mhm.
But I also think that in today's society, there's a ratio of 7-1 for men to women.
Mhm.
Men have options that women a lot of times don't. And I do think desperation kicks in
Mhm.
and they're out competing each other in the way
Yeah.
that some of them are out competing now is they saying, well, I'll do the proposing
Mhm.
because he ain't gonna never ask. If he ain't never ask, he ain't never want you.
Mhm.
Anyway, let me
Yeah.
ask you this next question.
Okay. Then we do have another question about roles, but we can go back to
That
that.
was a topic
Oh, a topic. My bad.
discussing roles in marriage. That's a
Okay, that
late
was a
night
topic,
marriage
not a
topic.
question.
It's a
Okay,
topic right before.
gotcha.
You need my glasses.
I don't.
Okay. Um, what are some goals you have for our marriage in the coming years?
Hmm. Um.
Hey, y'all finna find out with me.
I mean, there is no big.
Tigger.
My goal is that we just get better at doing marriage. Continue to help others in the journey of marriage. Um, live out the purpose that God has put joined us together, and that's one of the purposes. Is overseeing or helping other people in marriage, and not just marriage, any kind of marriage or the world's way, but God's intent for marriage and
Mm,
what it should look like. Um, a goal of doing this even better each year, growing in it, seeing the fruit of everything we started or planted um, over 20 something years, 25 years ago,
over 25 years ago.
you know.
Yeah,
So the goal basically is starting to see more and more fruit um, from the seeds that were planted,
absolutely.
from the seeds that was planted in marriage, and that we become grow even closer,
Mm-hmm.
you know, learn about each other even more,
Mm-hmm.
because we're not there yet.
Right.
Um, become even better friends, you know.
Friends. I'm still
See, there you
evolving
go.
on that
See, he's
friend thing.
still hung up, but we'll talk about
I'm
it.
still evolving on that friendship thing. Hey, listen, we so appreciate y'all for joining us. We thank you
Thanks
for
for
every
hanging in.
topic that you're dropping down there. We definitely gonna cover that on either some new episodes or the next late night marriage live.
Mental health. Yes.
Mental health. We want to
That
have a
is a real
topic
good
on mental health. We might even get. I wonder if we could get Quan to come to late night marriage live, because she do some mental health stuff. So that'll be fire. Hey, we really appreciate you for rocking with us. We had some conversations today on just some things that we're getting ready to do differently. We've got to get our focus right. We are serious about helping marriages and relationships thrive, not just to make it to 25 years, but to make it with fewer bumps and bruises that we have. We can never eliminate all the bumps and bruises,
Right.
but we need to deal with the bumps and bruises that are there. And that are there, but it prevent as many of them as we possibly can. I just think that it's been an honor to interview you. I didn't ask you all of my questions. Maybe we'll use those as some pillow talk. I ask you the rest of the questions on there.
Okay.
But what do you want us to talk about next week? Let us know. You can drop us a DM. You can drop some additional comments. I don't think she's up to task interviewing me yet, but I'm sure it will come.
Soon, yes.
Yeah. We really do enjoy you guys. We thank you. We love you.
Thank
and
you.
we can't wait for the next late night marriage live and some other stuff that we have on the horizon. We will be dropping the date and time for our free workshop that's going to be at our office here in Wakulla that you can come down. This is an opportunity to get up close and personal with us, ask your questions, join the dialogue so that we can answer your questions for you. And guess what? It don't cost you a thing, because it's our community service back to give back to couples in our community, to be a blessing to couples in our community. So,
and also you can hit us up if you want to do one-on-one or need one-on-one life coaching, either or. Sometimes you just need that person to talk to. For me, the hardest thing was going through a marriage or some of the situations that we did, not feeling like I had anyone to talk to. And then this is a whole nother topic about being in church and having, church family or people that you thought you could talk to or say something or give good advice, but not give a necessarily churchy answer or what they thought was a biblical answer, but it really wasn't. And so that we'll have to do that topic a whole another time. But just need someone in your corner, someone to talk to you, someone to relate, someone that could help you answer a question, see a different perspective. Let me know. Reach out.
Yeah, we always here. And if you're lucky enough to roll up on us at Starbucks, you can get some free coaching right there on the spot. I coach anywhere. It don't matter. If you're bold enough to ask, I'm bold enough to answer. So
For sure.
we appreciate you. We thank you for rocking out. Every time you show up, it encourages us to keep going. So we appreciate that. Also, make sure you go and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find it on YouTube at Late Night Marriage. Eventually, we're going to get off this Facebook thing and just be slowly on YouTube. But until we get there, we're going to still keep showing up in these two locations. God bless you. Good night. Lexus, we still have y'all books. We're going to send them to you. I don't know. I'm going to send them by carrier pigeon if I can't catch up with you and Brandon. But till next time, thank you, honey. You've been a great interview.
Thank you.
Great interview. I interviewed you twice today, girl.
You have. It's been a day. But
It's been a day.
Interviewed me twice.
Yeah. We love you guys, and we will
Hopefully I
see you
answer some questions
on the next episode. God bless.
Love you for real. Good night.
Good night.